Hey guys, it's Lizzie. I'm back and we're gonna talk about cheating, which is really common, promoted in a lot of music, TV shows, movies. It's just something where it's a normal part of society. I hear about it a lot. I hear about people petitioning people I know for sex who are clearly in relationships, tell the person they are. It's kind of like a no shame culture we're dealing with right now. And I also want to discuss this from the perspective. Hi, Madsmen17, thanks for being here. I also want to discuss this from the perspective of bipolar disorder, just because in bipolar mania, I'm from California, I live in LA. With bipolar mania, cheating in a relationship and hypersexuality is actually a symptom of mania. So I get loads of questions and messages from people who are dating or married to someone who's bipolar, talking about how they didn't know they were bipolar, suddenly they go manic, they cheat on them, they go to do drugs, like they had a totally normal relationship until the person went manic. So it's a huge question. Do you forgive the person? Is it their fault? I just find all of this really interesting. These questions are perplexing. And for me, I didn't even realize this started, hello. For me, being in a relationship and having bipolar disorder type 1, which is the one with more severe mania, it's something that I've thought about a lot, and I never want to cheat on my boyfriend. It would ruin our relationship. It would ruin my life. And I'm serious about that. That's how important this is to me. So I've basically thought through every possible thing that could happen to lead to cheating, and I've created door, block, so it will never happen, because I have the propensity to do that. And so I think that the things that I have thought through, normal relationships haven't, and I thought it'd be so cool to share that with you guys and hopefully help other people in relationships take cheating seriously and not ruin relationships, ruin marriages, ruin families. And if you are bipolar, I just want to say that there are so many messages I get from people where if they didn't know they were bipolar, they forgive the person and they want them back and they help them to get treatment. And I think that's the most honorable, beautiful thing. It's just restored my hope in humanity. The amount of messages I get from people who are married to someone who's bipolar, like how loving they are and willing to go so out of their way to take care of them and help them get treatment. So I'm gonna share some of those stories as well. So that was a 3-minute intro to everything we're gonna talk about in this video. I definitely want your guys' feedback as well. I'm gonna start by reading the comments and then get into the video. Hey Lizzie, I've literally been binge watching your videos lately, especially the Catholic theology videos. I don't know why though, maybe because you like my personality in my videos. But let's do live chat so I can see all of them. But how are you? I'm doing really good. I've been super productive. I've been uploading every single day, so I feel good about my career and my life. I've been spending a lot of time with people I love, like every single night, making food together and hanging out, so it's been good. I've been watching this movie called Salem's Lot. Have you heard of it? I've watched it, I think, 4 times in the past week, so... Hey Lizzie, Mads Mem, hello. Where are you from? We already answered these. Hi, All-Star, Aaron, whatever. Are you Mexican? So, what do you guys think my ethnicity is? People think Hispanic and Asian. My eyes, people think, are Asian. So I don't really see it. I'm really white. That's my understanding, but I have never done a DNA test. So I'm definitely going to do a DNA test and make a video, just because I get a lot of questions and it surprises me, because I always thought I was just white. So it really surprises me how I look like ethnically ambiguous. Howdy from the great state of Texas. Hello, I love the Dallas airport. That's my one experience in Texas. Hello from Kentucky. I was born in Kentucky. I just wanted to say you are my favorite Christian YouTuber. Oh, that makes me so happy. Michelle, I was married in college and I had to keep showing this guy my ring and I had a crush on him. It was weird. Yeah. I think that is common in a long relationship to maybe be attracted or have a crush on someone else. But what I do is I do not let myself feel emotions towards anyone besides my boyfriend. You just block emotions. And I think my favorite thing I learned is to never flirt with anyone. My personality is very flirtatious. I flirt with you guys when I'm talking to you unintentionally. I flirt with my parents unintentionally. I flirt with my cat. Just how I talk, it's very flirtatious and fun and touchy and jokes and affirming people. That's just who I am as a person. And so you're part Native American. I don't know, like we'll do the DNA test. I don't think so. I'm from the East Coast. So I know that doesn't mean that you're not, but just where my family's from, probably not. So not flirting with anyone was a big thing, because I think that sometimes you could be encouraging someone's behavior and not even knowing. So when I deal with people, I do not touch anyone. I don't go hug people who I just meet. And when I talk to people, I almost change my personality, which you might think is extreme, but that's how much I care about a relationship. Patrick Bullion, thank you for the donation. You're so nice. So I don't let myself like laugh and joke and do the normal things you would do if you're hitting on someone or attracted to someone. So that's the first thing I do. And I think a lot of people in like who I talk to who are in relationships, like they don't mind flirting with someone as long as they're not, you know, hooking up with them or having emotionally intense conversations. So one thing I want to talk about that I think is more controversial that a lot of people wouldn't want in their relationship or wouldn't agree with is that I have a lot of guy friends. I've had guy roommates. I talk to guys on the phone or FaceTime guys like one-on-one. I have a lot of guy best friends before the relationship, but in the relationship, I formed more guy best friends, like guys I'm really close to. And so here's what I've done that I really recommend, even if you're not in a relationship, just to not get confused about feelings. So do not hang out with guys one-on-one if you just are meeting them, because it can get confusing and it can form an emotional depth that should happen naturally more gradually. So if I become, and see, a lot of people wouldn't agree with this, but my boyfriend is chill if I go to a bar with my guy friends, or if I FaceTime someone, or if I'm hanging out at a restaurant one-on-one late at night. Like, he doesn't care because he trusts me and he's confident in himself, and he knows that I'm attracted to him, very attracted to him. And so it doesn't bother him at all, and he's not scared that I will cheat on him. And so I get to the point of being able to hang out with a guy one-on-one, talk to a guy, FaceTime a guy, if I feel any amount of feelings from my end, or if I feel anything from his end. And I think we all know, like, you can feel something, and maybe no one would say it, or you don't want to be with the person, or you're not that attracted, but if you feel any kind of energy, back off. Do not hang out with them one-on-one. Don't text them a lot. Kind of ignore them. You know, and I've done this with several people, and at first I was like, you know what? We're talking a lot. I don't really know their intentions. And that's the thing. Some people have horrible intentions, even people who are religious. Like, some people are horrible. You never know. And so you don't want to end up in a one-on-one situation where from your end, you don't feel that much. But if they do, they could be tempting you and trying to get you to cheat on the person, which has happened to me before as well with like people I meet. And so it's important that if you feel any amount of attraction, to back off and not hang out with them one-on-one until it's been established really, really clearly that there's nothing going on. And saying you're in a relationship is not enough. I've had it happen where it's like you're both in a relationship and, you know, it's still like you feel something. And I think that even with people who I'm best friends with, you know, you do have some amount of chemistry, even if you're not attracted to the person. And so with guy friends, go really, really slowly. And this is the same with like my guy friends from college, you know, like starting off, I feel like every guy who I'm currently best friends with, there's been a tiny bit of feelings at one point by one person or both people. And so there's always kind of been like, oh, we're not attracted to each other, or like one person's rejected the other person. It's really common in friendships with people of the opposite gender. And so it's important to do group hangouts and not one-on-one. And so I know a lot of people wouldn't even let themselves hang out with a guy late at night one-on-one, but for me, I know myself and my boyfriend knows me and we're chill with it, but I get to that point gradually. So that's really important. Never flirt with someone is really important. If you feel feelings, back off. Don't hang out with them, ignore them if you feel anything. Make sure to thumbs up this video to support me. I love you guys so much, all 14 of you who did. Emotional boundaries, this is from Shanna Lee 8, are just as important as physical boundaries. Yes, absolutely. I think that if you're connecting with someone really depth one-on-one, it is just as bad as physically cheating on someone. And I want to discuss that. So this is something I learned. Okay, I want to read your comments first, and then I'm going to share the best piece of advice for people who are single or people in relationships on how to not get hurt by people and how to establish emotional boundaries. So I love you, Lizzie. You've helped me with my conversion to Catholicism from paganism. You are so knowledgeable. Hi, the world is beautiful 9. Hello. Say hello before I go to school. Hi, Warfax Ramel. We'll probably be late. Hi, that baller. Admir, cheating in any relationship is disgraceful and it should be common sense to not cheat on people. It's sad that people do it. Yeah, it's really common and it's not common sense, which is why a video like this needs to be made. Vantronix, hello Lizzie. A Mag Clone, hi Lizzie. Is there a book you can recommend for people with a family member who has been diagnosed with bipolar, especially regarding setting appropriate boundaries? No, I don't think there are that many books. There are not as many books about bipolar as there should be. But a good book is called Welcome to the Jungle. So if you just Google Welcome to the Jungle by Hilary Smith, Hilary, Hilary Smith. It's an amazing book. I really recommend. I wrote a book on bipolar disorder, so eventually I'm going to go through the steps and publish it and edit and reach out to people. But currently I'm really content where I am in my career. But I do have that book written, so it's 200 pages. So whenever that happens, you know. How has being bipolar made you more of an empathetic and sensitive person? And would you be very cold if you weren't bipolar? This is an interesting topic. So yes and yes. I am an ESTJ, which if you're into Myers-Briggs, you will immediately understand that I'm a heartless, judgmental person who doesn't care about people and cares the most about work and getting things done, doesn't like being interrupted, and does not understand the concept of people having insecurities. I'm a horrible person naturally, and I think that being a Christian completely changed me and, you know, gave me a lot of empathy and stuff, but bipolar gave me extreme empathy, so I feel other people's emotions. And the reason I know that is because when I'm medicated, it kind of goes away, but it's still there a little bit. So definitely being bipolar has made me a much better person. So we're going to talk about emotional boundaries. So when I was in college, I had this thing happen where in the span of a year, there were 2 different guys who were really attracted to me and really into me, and then both things ended, and both of them like hated me and felt heartbroken, and like I was their first love and I broke up with them, and oh my gosh, horrible type thing. But like I felt heartbroken because I hate hurting people, and if it's someone who I was best friends with, it's a horrible thing to happen. So basically, after that, I was talking to the campus minister at my college. I am an INFJ. My ex is an INFJ, who I'm talking about. INFJs are great people, but also have flaws. So my campus minister was basically saying that you should, even if you're attracted to someone, you should never get emotionally close really fast. He said that having late night heart-to-hearts, which was common at our school because people were religious, they were Christians, they weren't hooking up with people, but you could kind of do like emotional hookups where you get really close to someone really fast because you're attracted to someone. And my campus minister said that that's how people get hurt. They open up to people really fast all at once without knowing if there's actually a relationship coming out of this. And do not get me wrong, you can go really, really depth with guy friends, with female friends. I'm really close to my guy friends. But again, it's something that happened gradually. Lizzie, can bipolar people have guns in their houses? No, absolutely not. It's so horrible because you can't say that a whole group of people are not allowed to have the right to own a gun, but if you have the high propensity to kill yourself, don't do it. you have a 1 in 2 chance of attempting suicide, a 1 in 4 chance of dying from bipolar, and if you are a guy, you have a higher chance of dying because guys tend to attempt suicide with guns. So does she mean legally? Yeah, so I mean, this is so controversial, but I know for me personally, and I recommend, if you are bipolar or you have like major depressive disorder, if you've been diagnosed, if you have borderline personality disorder, like, don't own a gun. It's not worth it. You know, you can find other ways to and you know what, like, there are so many ways to protect your home if that's really the issue. Like, there are doors you can install. Like, we have one in my parents' home, and I don't know what it's called, but not even an axe can break through it, a gun can't break through it. And so you can have like sensors on all your windows that go off and call the police if someone breaks in. So there's so many ways to protect your house. Research, and if you're really into hunting, you don't have to have it in your house. You can have one of your friends who has it. So, okay, this is an interesting Miranda. My brother was diagnosed as bipolar and he quits his job every winter. Is that normal? Like, there's 3 months he can't do stuff. Absolutely. It's extremely normal to have cyclical episodes. So that sucks that it happens every single year. If you went on medication, that wouldn't happen. Okay, so emotional boundaries when it comes to things. So this is something that I figured out in life, that you can control how emotionally close you get to people. It's not just like we're hedonistic emotionally and open up to people and say whatever we feel like saying. Like, have self-control. And so I've thought through in my life and thought of all the things that I had shared with someone who I had not ended up being with that could hurt me. Does that make sense? So, like, what are really, really depth parts of your life that you wouldn't share with someone who you just met or who you don't know if you're in a relationship with? You know what I mean? So I thought through things like things that have hurt me with my family, things about my mental illness, things, you know, just like think through your life. Think about a situation where you shared something about yourself and then the thing ended. What hurt you? So those things. Is this live now? Yes, it's live right now. Legally, you cannot own a gun if you are bipolar. Did not know that. I'm shocked with all the gun laws. Okay, we're not going to talk about Islam and Martin Luther right now. We're talking about bipolar and cheating in relationships. Like, we have plenty of other live streams. I've talked about my views on Islam and stuff. So, yeah, that's kind of ambiguous, but think through things in your life that you're not going to share to someone. Is this live? Okay, it is. I thought there were like multiple people like, is it live? Is it live? Like, yes, guys, hello, this is live right now. So I'm an INFP and I have a tendency to overshare and have poor emotional boundaries. So that's a really good point. Know yourself. If you have a personality where you overshare and go really depth really fast, especially figure it out. So, and then other people have a tendency to be really physically impulsive. So know yourself, and if you're like that, go above and beyond to not overshare. And so what I do is I don't talk as much. I ask questions. And by that, just tuned in a bit confused. Selfie, thank you for the donation. I think you'll figure it out. LOL, I love you, Lizzie. Thank you so much. I love you too, the queen of self-care. Aw. Yeah, so I ask questions more than I talk. And so in that, I'm not emotionally sharing as much. And here's the thing. You feel closer to people the more you emotionally share. You're like opening yourself up more. So I prefer to ask questions and have people talk than for me to overshare, because when you overshare, you feel so much closer and more attached to the other person, more than if you learn more about someone else. Obviously, both can get you attached. And so also, when you ask questions, steer the conversation away from emotional things. So when I hang out with people, I talk about intellectual topics. I'll talk about theology and philosophy and what's going on in our lives, but I do not share emotionally depth things or spiritually depth things. I just don't talk about it with people who are not my boyfriend or are not one of my best friends for years, or my YouTube channel. So that's a way that there's not a clear boundary, but you guys are my subscribers. You're not someone who would try to get me to cheat in my relationship. Actually, probably some people would, because it's the internet. But yeah, people give me marriage proposals on here a lot. I'm just not that interesting. Everyone is interesting if you ask the right questions. Hi, Lizzie. I really needed to hear this. So glad I tuned in. I didn't say it to Lizzie. So, actual things to do to prevent cheating. So I think that in life in general, you should not be when are you going to eat some kale? It's fun when you eat during a live stream. I was just thinking that I should eat during a live stream. I'm having dinner later with people and they're cooking. So yeah, how about the next live stream I'll have kale? There's actually salad right now in the place. Maybe I should get some, but I'm hanging out with people who don't want to be on the internet. So okay, so something else that makes me like the least likely person to cheat, even though I'm a lot more likely because I'm bipolar. So I do not hook up with people, and I think a lot of people, Christians, which I don't know if, are you guys Christians? Comment below your religion, not comment below, but are you storming Area 51? No. So what are your guys' religions? Like, are you Catholic? I'm Anglican and curious about Catholicism. Have been to both Orthodox and Catholic Mass. It felt strange. What would you recommend to get better engaged? I recommend to read the liturgy. So if you go to an Orthodox church, like read the Divine Liturgy, follow along with it, and same at Mass. You can actually get something called the Word Among Us, and it has the prayers and everything. And so print out like the Nicene Creed, the Kyrie Eleison, like print out the liturgy, and then you can follow around more. Questioning. Michelle, you should become Catholic. Christian Catholic, Orthodox, Catholic convert. Okay, so for Christians, I've interacted with a lot of people who think that hooking up is only if you have sex. And so for other things like kissing someone or cuddling or whatever, like that should just be like immediate. Like if you feel something towards someone, like just kiss them, just be any amount of physical. And for me, I've never been like that. I connect being physical to an actual relationship. And I think a lot of people who will kiss anyone, not just someone who they're in a relationship with, they are more impulsive about physical boundaries. And so I think if you practice all of growing up to not be physical with someone impulsively, then you won't accidentally kiss someone. Because that's something that literally happens to people where they accidentally kiss someone. And I see it so much in movies and TV shows as well. It's like glorified. Cheating on people is something that's literally glorified. So don't be impulsive physically in general in life. And also, do not be impulsive physically when you meet people. I know, hi Lizzie, I'm doing better now. Yay, Orthodox. I live right next to a Catholic church. You should go then. I live right next to my church as well, and I can walk there and stuff, so it's great. Okay, physical. So that's something that I stopped doing as well. So I'm someone, like I said at the beginning, very flirtatious, very touchy with people. So I'm not touchy with guys. I'll cuddle with my female friends who I've known for years, but when you meet someone, you can give them a hug and that's it. You don't need to touch their shoulder or their arm when you're laughing. And honestly, I feel like in this day and age, it's becoming more and more a problem. Consent has always been a problem, obviously, and when it comes to any amount of physical, you need to have consent. But I've become convicted, because of all the things happening, to not assume someone is chill with you touching them. So I just don't touch people anymore unless I'm like close to them, you know? And so if you're meeting someone new and there's chemistry, you'll like touch their arm or like hug them tightly. And so I just don't do that with anyone, and I think that's a really clear boundary to understand. So mania, and then we're going to talk about exes after mania. So in mania, hypersexuality is a thing and it's common to cheat. So take your medication and get on more medication. It's kind of forgivable and understandable if you're newly diagnosed with bipolar when you're like 38 and married. But if you've known you are bipolar for a long time and then surprise, you stop taking your medicine, go manic, and cheat on your spouse, I think you're a little bit liable for it. Just like how if you got drunk and then cheated on someone when you're drunk, you're liable for that because you chose to get drunk. And so I see bipolar in the same way, where mania is like being drunk or being on drugs, and so you're liable if you go off your meds. And like I go off my meds a lot. But since being in a relationship, it's been like this priority. And I've even gone on more medication for this relationship. Your relationship must be wonderful. Yes, a relationship is wonderful to go on more meds for a relationship. So I was originally just on one mood stabilizer, Lamictal, and then once I got into my relationship with my current boyfriend, I went on Seroquel, which is an antipsychotic to push down mania. So I went on a medicine to push down mania for this relationship, and it's more medicated than I would choose to be, but it's for him, for the relationship. And recently, because of him, I added on another antipsychotic because he's like, you're manic all the time, I don't like it, add on more medicine, change your medicine. So I think it's really important to talk to your partner if you have bipolar, and to go on more medicine if that's something that, if you're manic. And so I think it's really important, think of taking medicine as something important for the relationship because you are likely to cheat on someone. So just be really hyper aware of that, because you will go hypersexual and hypomanic. Guys have to do hover hands in pictures now so they can prove they didn't touch someone. I've gone through huggy phases when I felt lovey with everyone. Yeah, so I think everyone's being really careful now. The priest down the street doesn't like me. That's sad. How do you know that? The most rare personality in the world is the personality of Jesus Christ and the personality of the devil. Stop being so arrogant about INFJs. Are so full of themselves sometimes about their personality. I know. Most people I love talking about themselves. If I'm ever in a situation where I don't want to share, I just keep asking them more questions. Joseph Nelson, absolutely. So I just keep asking questions if I don't want to share things about my life. And again, I only am intellectual with people, which my boyfriend has said before is my love language, but not really. Like, if you're not emotionally connecting with someone or spiritually connecting with someone, it's fine. Like, if you've ever had an experience where you've literally heard God's voice or seen a vision, don't share that with someone who you're not in a relationship with, who you're attracted to, right? Like, stuff like that. I haven't seen a vision, by the way. Mads Mem, being INFP and highly sensitive is an absolute nightmare, I can imagine. LOL, I love you, Lizzie. Thank you so much. The queen of self-care. Michelle is an ENFP. Madsman17 says, I think you can own a gun if you're bipolar because of health privacy laws. Yeah, like, how would they know if you're bipolar? Gun laws vary state by state, Joseph said. Absolutely, that's what I mean. We talked about that. Michael P, are anger issues something that gets diagnosed? But I think I am, because I get angry so easily and it sucks. Yeah, so anger is really common in bipolar, especially for guys. So when you're in depression, women tend to cry and have that emotional type of depression, but when guys have depression, they tend to be more irritable and angry, which I actually experience too, because I have a more masculine personality, so I experience depression and mania like how guys are supposed to. But don't have any gender dysphoria though, but that's just my personality. But mania as well. I do not have manic anger. I have anger depression, but a lot of people with bipolar, their anger is like so extreme and awful, and it sucks because that can hurt people so much. But it's like, if you're manic and trying to medicate and it's not working, there's like not much that you can do. I just lost my job because I'm bipolar. This is Josh. 12 years together and I still can't trust. I'm emotional and my husband just gets mad. That's so sad. And anything that is small to him is enormous to me. Yeah, I mean, I think that you guys both should go to therapy. I think that therapy is so important. It helps you to understand your relationship more. And I know that personally, I've gone to therapy a lot. And it's helped me understand so much about myself and things that have hurt and scarred me in the past and how that's affecting current relationships. So I think it's really important to talk through everything that has hurt you and haunted you and scarred you in therapy, so that you don't bring that into your relationship or bring that into how you're treating your children. And so I think that individually you should both go to therapy, and go to couples therapy as well. I think that's really, really important. And maybe both seek like a spiritual guide or a priest to talk through everything too. So, because it's really easy to just push things under the rug, to have one fight and then not talk about it. But if you talk about every single thing, it hurts and it's painful and it's vulnerable. But that's important. And I think my number one advice for relationships is to use I pronouns and not you pronouns. So, how have INFJs hurt you personally? I don't want to talk about people on my YouTube channel. Like, I mean, I always do, but maybe we can talk about that later. He wouldn't know what to expect from me just through watching your videos. Yeah, I mean, and everyone's bipolar experience is different, right? So specifically with I and you pronouns, so this is not just in romantic relationships, but any relationship. So if someone hurts you, instead of saying, you hurt me, you're angry at me, you should say, I feel hurt by you. I feel that you're being angry towards me. Instead of saying, you're awful, you're hurtful, say, I feel like you are hurtful right now. I feel that you're being cruel to me. But don't say, you're this, because it well, number one, you don't know absolute truth, and your perspective could be wrong. And so, yes, everyone's perspective deserves to be listened to. I guess I'm near an airport. Everyone's perspective. Oh yeah, I am. I'm not that close to an airport. Everyone's perspective deserves being heard and listened to. Yes, we don't know what reality really is. So it's like just objectively full of yourself to be like, you're an evil person, you're being selfish, you're hurting me. Like maybe you're sensitive because of something else that has happened in your past, you know what I mean? So it's important to just be like, hey, I feel hurt by me, I feel hurt by you right now. Can I share my emotion and let's talk about it? And if it's disarming, automatically to not start accusing the other person, because then they're going to get defensive. And so when you're talking about issues, only use I pronouns and force the person you're with to only use I pronouns as a rule. And automatically that will allow smoother communication. Because if someone does hurt you, labeling them as angry and hurtful and cruel and you remind me of this person in my life who hurt me, it's just not helpful for communication. So I think that's really important for communication. That's exactly what we need to try. You're an introvert, Lizzie. I find that hard to believe. I'm not an introvert, I'm an extrovert. I have very, I mean, it's on a spectrum, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. And so, like, I'm on a spectrum, you know what I mean? But I feel really drained. So I'm HSP, which stands for highly sensitive person. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but I'm very sensitive to sounds and to seeing violence and like sights. Not really smells, textures as well. So I'll get drained by being in public, but not because of talking to people, but because of like the sound of someone's voice, or if there's music in the background, or white noise. White noise drives me crazy. So anytime there's some sort of like sound, I can get drained by, but an introvert can be in the room with me and not get drained. So in some senses, I behave like an introvert, but I mean, I'm basically an extrovert. So I do get drained by people though. I really do. So I'm not that much of an extrovert, and I'm a loner. Not a loner. I have a lot of friends and I love hanging out with people, but I'm fine by myself. Like I don't need people at all. I could be in solitary confinement and be fine. I'm more healthy with people, but yeah. I get super drained just going to Walmart. Yeah, I don't know. Are you in I feel like that could be a depression thing if you get drained. You are beautiful. Thank you. People don't understand. I hear white noise all the time. Yeah, John, we're the same. It's so weird. People like, I feel crazy sometimes. All we do when we try to talk is to talk over each other. Yeah, exactly. So you just need to stop and listen. I wish we could exchange numbers. I want to start a bipolar channel and need help. DM me on Twitter. That's where I talk to a lot of people. I feel like my friendships, this is Michael P, during 2018, 2019 got bad because I got really into the Catholic faith, and now some people will be like, he doesn't swear or whatever, and then get mad and don't talk to me. So those don't really sound like real friends, right? That's a ridiculous person. Yeah. Is that chair comfortable? It's like extremely comfortable. Yeah, I wish you guys could feel it. I'm like chilling out on this chair. I really like it. So that was my little spiel and speech on cheating in relationships. And I guess just expect people to not respect your boundaries. I've had in LA where I live, I've been walking around and I've had guys come up to me and like try to like get me to go somewhere with them to some event, or like talk to them longer, or go to some place, you know what I mean, like try to like get with me or hook up with me or whatever. And I'll be like, I have a boyfriend, I'm in a relationship, and they're like, I don't care, and they keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and maybe they think I'm lying about it, but I think a lot of people literally don't care. So get rid of those people and don't have them in your life. Okay, so the last thing I'm gonna say on this, and then we can talk about whatever you guys want. I'll just read the comments and read the super chats and stuff. So with exes, don't be friends with your ex. And you can be friends with literally anyone else, but don't involve your exes. I've known things with friends where they've been like casually friends with their ex and then like flirting with the person and like hanging out with them in a sketchy way. And so it's just not worth it. Don't message your ex, don't talk to them. Like my ex reached out to me when he found out I was becoming Catholic, and he like wanted to talk about theology and like all these questions and how are you doing, and like we hadn't been together for years, but like I felt a tiny feeling at that point. And so I was like, absolutely not. And I cut off all communication. And I think that if you feel anything towards someone who you've a past with, it's not worth it. You can be friends with literally anyone else. You don't have to be friends with the person who is part of your past. You know, you learned a lot from them. You had happy memories. You had great flourishing times together, but they don't need to be in your life. And I think that love is sacrifice. And so you have to make some amount of sacrifices in your relationship. And one of them is cutting off exes. There's literally no reason you need to have them in your life anymore. And I think, yeah, that's it. I don't sorry. So my mom, she obviously, our parents grew up without internet and cell phones and stuff. And she said that one of her high school boyfriends, they broke up and then they never talked to each other again or saw each other again. And that was it. And she was basically saying that it was so much healthier back then because after you broke up with someone, they're out of your life. And it's not like this temptation to text them or like Facebook message them, but it's over and they're gone, and it's a positive thing. So I haven't spoken to my ex in going to be 4 years. Yes, they don't need to be part of your life. You can talk to literally anyone else. And it's the same with people who you feel like little feelings for. Like, be honest with yourself. If you feel little feelings for someone, they don't need to be in your life. Talk to literally anyone else. I've never been in a relationship, but I'm kind of scared because of breaking up. Yeah, so my experience is like my first breakup was really heartbreaking, and it like lasted for 2 years, like crying about it. But after that, I realized like it's never gonna be that bad ever again. So yeah, I don't know. Like I learned a lot though from the breakup. Like I don't want to talk about I don't want to talk about this right now, but I have like loads of videos on breakups. I have a whole playlist on breakups, and I've made like 70 relationship advice videos. So yeah, I think it's worth the pain. What about being friends with your ex? Yeah, absolutely not. Like, don't be friends with your ex. I mean, maybe here's the thing. So there's a difference between someone who you like casually dated, who then you became best friends with, and you've been best friends with them for like 4 years, and then you met someone and got into a relationship with them. That's totally different than if you haven't talked to someone, you like barely ever talked to them, it was a horrible breakup, and then you just want to text them one day or like go get lunch with them. Like, why? It's not necessary. Super comment. Hi Vincent, thank you so much for the donation. Lizzie, I feel like you're my online therapist, and it's pathetic to never have been in a relationship and almost been 30. No, it's not. I don't think it's pathetic. I think that if you want to be in a relationship, use a dating app and go on dates with people. Like, so many of my friends getting married this year met on Bumble, you know? So I think that if you want to go on dates with people and stuff, but I think it's really important to be single and to get things done and to be productive in your career and to have close friendships, and you're not missing out on anyone by not being in relationships with people you're not confident about and then going through heartbreaking situations. You know what I mean? So I think that if you're not serious about someone, then it's not worth being in like a half-hearted relationship and then going through a horrible breakup. So I think it's better overall to be in less relationships than more relationships. Some people need to go from like relationship to relationship to relationship, but I think it's so much more special to be with like one person and have like everything special with that person. And yeah, so I think it's better to have less relationships. Like, Trevor's the only person I've ever been in love with, you know, and like said I love you to, and that's really, really special. And like, I've cared about other people, but I like that I've been single for most of my life and have that with him. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. So I think it's great. And a lot of people get married like in their 30s. My parents met in their late 30s, so yeah. I was married for 30 years. She threw me out after I had a heart attack and could no longer work. Never talked to her again. That's great. You don't need to be, you don't need to be friends with your ex. So many other people in the world to spend your time with. The Queen of Self-Care, best username. I am terrified of meds. I'm kind of a conspiracy freak. I'm 31 now and have never been on meds, but I've been doing extreme things lately. I'm so torn. Go on meds. If you love me and enjoy my videos, please go on meds. It's the most amazing thing. And what I want to tell you is that there are like 50 different bipolar meds, including antipsychotics, mood stabilizers, and antidepressants. So if you don't like how you feel on a certain medicine, go on a different medicine, change to a different medicine. You don't need to have this attitude where you go on a medicine, you don't like how you feel on it, like, I don't like medicine, I'm never being medicated again. Like, people, I've been that person who's been like that. So if you feel over-medicated, change your medicine. Tell your psychiatrist, I don't want to be on this. I want to lower my dose. They'll work with you if you communicate. So it's not worth killing yourself. I'm serious. Like, I take this so seriously. I did so much research. I looked at all the stats and I'm like, okay, 1 in 4 chance of killing myself, 1 in 2 chance of attempting suicide, 90% chance of getting divorced, high chance of getting fired from my job, quitting my job impulsively, failing classes, cheating on someone. It's not a joke. It's a severe medical condition, and if you had cancer or heart disease or type 2 diabetes, you would go on medication. So just because it's in your brain rather than your heart, it's a physical organ, you know? So that's my intense speech. I don't know if that helped. I hope you go on meds. I really do. It's important to go on meds. That was my prayer for you. I know I've been asked out on dates, but I never went forward because I know I'm not going to feel like I click well enough that it is worth going forward and dating that person. How do you feel about Xanax? I don't know that much about it. I think it's an anxiety medicine, so I've never researched it. Thank you, the Queen of Self-Care. Okay, can you promise one medicine? I love you so much. And I know it's really scary. Like, I've gone off meds 4 times, but I always end up going back on. And, like, I feel so much more like myself right now on Vraylar. And before, like, I was over-medicated for, I think, last year, but it was better than being, like, flat-out manic and, you know, running around at night and being sketchy and trespassing and, Yeah, it's just not worth it. Like, love yourself and take care of yourself, especially with your username. Miranda, my brother can't seem to get on the right meds. He started taking street drugs to deal with his bipolar issues. I keep praying for him. He has 4 kids. Yeah, I would say that you need to really, really focus on nitpicky helping him in his life. So maybe talk to a psychiatrist, talk to his psychiatrist, go with him to the appointments, ask him in depth how the medicine's going, because it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for a medicine to kick in, so it's pretty fast if you know whether or not a medicine's working. And so if you've tried the medicine, it's not doing anything, change to a different medicine. My psychiatrist, when I'm going in between medicines, every 2 to 3 weeks I see her when it's a new medicine. And so it's really intense where it's like, is this working? If it's not working, change the medicine. I think a lot of people don't have an assertive approach to psychiatry, which drives me crazy. Your psychiatrist cannot read your mind. And so if you hate how a medicine is, you have to tell her how it is. And I think that the problem is a lot of people who go to med school do not have emotional intelligence. So my psychiatrist is a female, so women have better people skills, and she has more emotional intelligence than other psychiatrists I've been to. So try out a lot of psychiatrists, fire your psychiatrist and find a different one, but you have to communicate about whether or not a medicine works. How do you find therapists and psychiatrists? So there are several ways. There's a website called ZocDoc. Also, Psychology Today has lists of them. So I just Google my zip code and or my city and psychiatrist, and there's so many different websites that come up with different ones, and typically there'll be one office that has a ton of psychiatrists and therapists at that office, and so that's different ones. And also, if you go to your health insurance website, they'll have a list of all the doctors in your area who they cover. And if you don't know what that website is, call your health insurance on your health insurance card and be like, I want to know the psychiatrists in my area that are on my insurance. And so, yes, be assertive about your healthcare. And if you're in depression and do not have the energy to be assertive about your healthcare, be like, Mom, I really, really need help. I do not have the energy to find a good psychiatrist. Can you do it for me? Ask your sibling, your parent, your boyfriend, your best friend to do it for you. Be like, I physically cannot. I need help. I was on 600 milligrams of Seroquel and I felt normal. I was on 400 last year and then 300, and now I'm on 100 because I'm transitioning to Vraylar. Does Seroquel give you a hazy buzz? It did when I was on it, but I was up to 600 milligrams. Yeah, so I think that's too much. I was on 200, 300, so just go down on the medicine maybe. Someone asked, how do you feel about Lexapro? So what's good about Lexapro is that it kicks in immediately. It works within a few days, so I think that's a really positive thing. But I think that it can make you go manic, which you would want to have it with another drug, not alone if you're bipolar. 600 is very high. Yeah. I have depression and I might possibly be falling into an eating disorder, but I'm not sure. Yeah. So I've had times where I've almost fallen into an eating disorder and I've always caught myself. So I feel like I don't know what to say about it. I guess here's the thing. So eating disorders have to do with control. And so anytime I start going to that, yes, it has to do with wanting my body to look a certain way, but there's always an underlying element of control. Something is out of control in my life. And so you need to be honest with yourself and think what stress factors right now are triggering me to want to have this eating disorder. And so once you realize, for me last year, I felt so horrible that I was hurting my parents becoming Catholic, and so what I did is I starved myself, and it was easier than having to deal with those emotions. And if instead I just cried and cried and cried and prayed and talked to more people in my life about it, I wouldn't have fallen into that. And it was so bad. I remember I would be cooking food, and while I was waiting for noodles to boil or something to saute, I would go and be doing push-ups and crunches in my room and lunges because I wanted to constantly work out. It was horrible. And so I actually gave that up for Lent. Like for Lent, anytime I had a thought about my body or like looked for a thigh gap or anything like that, I like immediately started praying. So yeah, and I guess also I would say, like, I've never had a straight up eating disorder, but it starts by you feeling in control, and then it starts to control you, and you're completely out of control. So just think, like, right now I'm so stressed and hurting from this thing and I want control, but it'll get to a point where you're like going up a hill and in control. It'll get to a point where you fall and you're not in control anymore. And so just know that it's like a quick fix that soon is gonna make things even worse. So I hope that helped, because I've been in bad times like that. But you're honestly amazing, and you have such emotional intelligence to notice it now. It's not for bipolar. Google account 600 wasn't high from what I understood for schizophrenia and schizoaffective disorder. Anyways, yeah, so people were saying that it's a high dose. So a working dose for bipolar as well is around 600. My psychiatrist told me that's normal. So yeah. Anyways, I'm off Seroquel and have been in Latuda for 2 years. That's so cool. I was on Latuda and my insurance wouldn't cover it. My part was going to be $1,000 a month, and I was like, no. So that's a really amazing drug. It was really amazing for me. So, and now I'm on Vraylar, which is also for schizophrenia and schizoaffective. So yeah. Okay, don't recommend this. I tried marijuana for my bipolar and BPD related issues, and I would not recommend it for long-term use. Quitting it isn't easy. Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, I wanted to ask people this. So drinking alcohol on antipsychotics, do you guys know? Because I don't drink that much, but I do sometimes, and my psychiatrist never told me to not drink. Keep thumbsing up the video, guys. Thank you. But I was researching because I was on my period a couple days ago and I was in a lot of pain, which rarely ever happens, and I wanted to take ibuprofen or acetaminophen or Advil, and I researched and it said that on Vraylar it has a moderate I don't know what it's called, but if like another drug affects your drug, it has like a moderate like bad effect. And so it was like a tiny bit, moderate, or really bad. So that was like moderate. It sounded pretty bad. And not really bad, but pretty bad. So I was like, oh, I cannot take pain reliever medicine. And acetaminophen is a different type of pain reliever that we have in my house in Florida with my family, just because my dad has blood clots and he's on a medicine that, like, he just can't take it with Advil or ibuprofen, so we have acetaminophen. Anyways, so while I was researching Seroquel and Lamictal is fine with different things, but Vraylar and Seroquel were my issue. So it said alcohol is bad on Seroquel, and it can get you drunk really fast, and you'll start like feeling really hot and dizzy and almost pass out, and the medicine won't work as well. And I'm like, I didn't know this, I didn't experience it like that, but this Vraylar, like, I wonder. So, do you guys know? Did your parents once think becoming Catholic was because of your bipolar? So my parents don't really believe I have bipolar 100%. They're kind of on the fence about it. So no, but I told them that I was manic when I was converting, and that's why I was impulsive. So I mean, I'll admit it, but that doesn't mean it's not true. It just means it like gave me that extra push to be vulnerable and impulsive about it. It's hard for me to ask for my crush's number. I'm 19. She teases me often and shows signs of liking me, but it's hard for me to do it. She sees me as confident and muscular, but I'm shy. Any advice? So you have to have an excuse to text someone, and it makes it more chill. This happens even if you're not like dating someone, but you just like feel awkward about like, can I have your number? Because it seems like way more weird than it needs to be, right? So what you'll do is like, oh, can I text this to you? You're like, oh, there's this video I want you to see, like, can I text it to you? And then be like, oh, I don't have your number, like, give me your number. So just like mention a YouTube video or like an article you want to text them. So you're welcome. I'm suspicious of being bipolar, but I'm not sure. What advice, sorry guys, what advice can you go to a psychiatrist or a licensed therapist and see if you're bipolar. Sorry guys, I was trying to see what this thing, I have like if you guys want to see, it's like a tripod thing, look. Lizzie's Answers, Brandon the Poet, you look beautiful as always. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your life as well as being friends with you. Oh, that makes me so happy. Yeah, I take Depakote and no difference. So you guys have said there's no difference between LOL, thanks, that helped. Love you, Lizzie. I love you too, Alicia. I love you. Also take Depakote and Clozapam. So, alcohol. Does anyone have experience with alcohol and Seroquel and Bipolar? And honestly, any antipsychotic? Seeing you happy is what I strive for. Yeah, I'm pretty much happy all the time, unless I'm sobbing, but that's the thing. Like, okay, so my boyfriend's mom was talking about how there's someone who cries at her work a lot and how it's like kind of awkward, and her parent died, and so it's kind of like, they're like older, so it's not like, you know, it's like a teenager, you know what I mean? They're like parents of other kids, and then they have like parents, you know what I mean? So it's like a parent who's dealing with this, and she was like, it's kind of awkward. And I was like, yeah, emotional regulation is really important. And so I was saying how for me, when I'm hurting from something, I deal with it right away, and I listen to songs or like watch a movie that reminds me of the emotion, and like I cry and cry. And I deal with the emotion, and then when I'm in the rest of my life, I'm really happy and I'm chill and I'm put together around people. So that's what I recommend. It's not hiding your emotions, but it's just important to not be crying in public. You should research lysine as a mood stabilizer alternative. Okay, get out. I love being on medication, and I hate it when people are like, try the natural approach. Have you tried going off of your medicine? Like, yeah, I tried going off of my medicine, and I started doing things illegal and had suicidal thoughts. Like, why would you want me to go off of my medicine? That's so ridiculous. Lizzie, I love being friends with you too. You're the best YouTuber ever. What really sucks is what you mentioned earlier. People don't see our illness as an illness. They call me over dramatic and say it's all in my head. It sucks. And people see me when I'm triggered, but I totally agree with you, Lizzie. Don't go off meds. Exactly. Can I send you a gift? Yes. I'm getting a P.O. box in the next, like in September, I'll have a P.O. box. So I'll tell you my P.O. box, okay? OMG, I'm awful at regulating emotions. I cry in public sometimes. I've gotten better through the years, but sometimes it's hard and feels like it's out of my control. Yes, I used to be the same way where I cried in public all the time. So no judgment. I'm just saying if you don't want to cry in public, that's advice on crying. So yeah, like I've had times where I cry a lot and I'm like really going through stuff, but so I understand. But now that I'm on medicine and my bipolar meds, I don't cry as much. It's really nice, actually. I used to be in so much pain and cry every day, so. Alcohol and Seroquel isn't good. Google account. So has your psychiatrist told you, or have you done research about it? Like, I want to know. It gets you messed up, and it's not a fun way. Have you ever worked in a toxic work environment? Yes. I wouldn't describe it as toxic. It was just people not doing their work. So it wasn't like emotionally toxic. I was an intern when I was in college at our campus ministry, and only 3 of us did work. Everyone else kind of did work, but there were like, so everyone had like a section of what they were doing. So I was in charge of our small groups ministry. So I had to do like email chains to everyone, talk to the adults and leaders, lead training sessions. It was really, really intense. I had that in addition to leading my own Bible studies. And so there were other people who were not putting in their share work for like bigger things. Like I had to spend 15 hours putting a budget request together to get money from our SGA. We had to run campus ministry retreats and figure out carpool schedules, things that actually take hours and hours and hours and hours. So there were like a few of us doing all the work, and our supervisors weren't like regulating it and being like, hey guys, you need to devote more time to this. So yes, it wasn't toxic though, but after that I've been like, never again. I'm never working with people again. So that's why I like doing my YouTube channel. I just don't want to deal with people, which is ESTJ. I cried at mass today, and my boss was sitting behind me, super awkward. I cry every mass, but I just like, I'm not like sobbing visibly. I like hold it in and there's like tears, but no one knows I'm crying. So you just have to get better at crying. I gained 50 pounds on Seroquel. Why didn't you go off of it? My psychiatrist said that. She's like, you could gain weight on this. If you do, we'll go off of it. So she knows how vain I am. I'm just kidding. When you get your P.O. box, definitely I will send you your 4 poems and letters as a thank you for always putting a smile on my face through the rough times. Your videos and live streams always make my nights. Oh, I love you so much. That makes me so happy. Have you lost jobs because you snapped on coworkers? Because they are very disrespectful. So I haven't like snapped on people, but I was working for this company and I was making like bipolar videos for them, and I snapped on them because they weren't paying me on time, and then I was like, I never want to work with you again. So that kind of thing, yes. I don't like crying in public or saying I'm not okay when someone asks how I am. It's like I don't want people to worry about me. Okay, but here's the thing. I know I've said this so many times, but people love taking care of you. Like I feel so fulfilled and loved by getting to love other people and take care of them in their weakest. Like it's grown us so close. So like give someone else the gift of getting to love you. The people closest to you who are truly love you and in your life will never view you as a burden, but will feel so excited to get to take care of you. I'm nervous about antidepressants because I don't want to gain weight. Okay, there's like 30 different antidepressants. So, wait, let me see. I think my friend just came over and I'm going to go meet them. So, I think I'm going to go, guys. But I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. I'm going to be uploading a morning routine video tomorrow. It's been 60 minutes, so it's been a full hour. It's super hard for me to communicate. Thank you for helping me convert to Catholicism. Aw, I love you so much, Gemma. Bye, Lizzie. I love you guys. No, XOXO. Bye. Bye, girl.